Welcome to another Liquid Bullet Productions. With us today is Stav, the Crazy Bear Economou. Welcome Stav, thanks for coming.
Cheers Lee, it's a pleasure to be here.
Just got your fight record here, I'm just going to read that out quickly. So, MMA fight record, 18 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 1 no contest. Just noticed in your fight record there some big names. Bob Sapp, Ricco Rodrigues and Thiago Silva, Linton Vasil.
Yeah.
So let's just start with what you've been doing through the lockdown. Have you been out to train or anything?
I mean, fortunately, with lockdown, I had a little boy, little Zacharias.
Congratulations.
Cheers, thank you. So I've had that to keep me busy and everything. So I've basically just between having him and work and everything, I've just been doing that and just becoming a big fat mess. Yeah, all I've done is this is basically a dad bod plus a lockdown bod. It's not a good mixture, but
that's good.
Yeah.
So it's probably taken over your life a little bit having a new baby, isn't it?
Yeah, it really has. It really has. It's crazy. You know, actually, to be honest, I'm kind of glad that's happened during the lockdown in a way, because I haven't had to worry. I haven't had to think about training. I haven't had to be stressed about if I'm going to fight or not, or what's going on with my fight career. I've just been able to enjoy being a dad and just keep getting on with it.
Yeah, get used to it.
Yeah.
Right. So let's start with a little bit of brief about like your history, your upbringing. If you could go through that with us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I had a fairly normal upbringing. I mean, yeah. I can't say it was anything particular. I was born in England. My dad's is from Australia, my mum's from Cyprus, and they just raised me as well as they.
So what age did you sort of get interested into fighting, or was there anything that inspired you, like a film star, or?
I mean, growing up, I always loved WWF. Like, I really loved it, and then because I loved wrestling, I kind of heard of UFC through that, and then I never thought I would become an MMA fighter, but I remember I was 18 years old. I just left like the gym, a normal gym I trained at, and I'm walking home, and I decided to go this different route home for some reason. But I don't know why, I just did. And in going down that different way home, I found TSG, and I was like, oh, what's this? And it had and then it was this, and at the time it wasn't TSG, it was just some gym where the TSG trained, and they had all these classes on, like boxing, amateur wrestling, and I saw jiu-jitsu, and I thought, oh, that's fun, that's like in UFC. Oh, I'll go and give it a go. And I went there, did my first class, and just loved it, just
went from there.
Yeah, from there, yeah. And again, I never really thought I would go on to compete or fight. But I did, and I've never looked back. So
is there anyone that sort of inspired you in that sort of game?
I mean, not earlier on, but the more I got into the sport, the more I learned of the history of the sport. You know, I mean, even guys like, I was always such a big fan of Fedor. You know, he was, you know, just the way he was fighting, his explosiveness, his power, speed, technique. It was just, and his overall demeanor was just like, it was so captivating for me, you know, to watch. You know, like I remember I used to watch a lot of the old Pride events and just
it was big on it in the day.
It really was. Like, it's a shame that it's not around anymore, but that was such an amazing show, and that's where I really was like, oh, this looks really interesting.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about your fight history? So, sort of what age you actually first stepped in a cage, and you took us your way through it up to today?
I started training when I was 18. My first amateur fight at 19, and then at 19, I think I had my first pro at 20. I think, or just before I turned 20, and then just kept going from then. I'm 35 now, so I'll be 35 this year, so doing it well.
You fought some big names in the game, haven't you? Like Ricco Rodrigues was the UFC heavyweight champion.
He was, yeah.
So taking on that fight, can you explain, like, was you frightened going in there? Was it excited? What sort of?
Yeah, I was just really excited because he was such a big name. And I remember the second UFC DVD I ever bought was him winning the UFC title. So when I got the opportunity to fight him, like I instantly thought back to buy that DVD. Oh shit! Like I used to watch him and stuff. So it was such an amazing experience. It was over in Dubai, which was obviously great in itself, and it was the first. I think it was one of the first MMA events in the region in Dubai, and it was a great honour to be a part of that. And it was we went out there, just had a war. Like Ricco was super respectful before the fight, and like throughout the whole experience, and to go out there and share the cage with him, to fight each other, punch each other in the head, bleed all over each other. It doesn't sound like fun,
and that fight you came out on top, didn't you?
I came out on top,
that fight.
Yeah, up 1 points. Yeah.
What about the fight with Bob Sapp? Is another big name. And I know you're a big heavyweight yourself, but he made you look small in there, didn't he? He's a big guy.
He's one of the biggest dudes I've ever seen in person. Like he looked ridiculously big. I remember seeing him thinking, Jesus, what am I doing? But again, that was over in Abu Dhabi, and that was for a big event over there, ADFC, and I remember they had a big public weigh-in. The crowd were like really interested and really hyped about the event and the fight itself, and obviously him being such a big name. I was like, it was just an opportunity. It was an opportunity that I absolutely just loved, and at the time, Bob was coming in off a win, so I knew that he. Bob was still motivated at that time, so I knew if I gave him the opportunity to do what he wanted to do, it could have been a lot harder fight for me.
How do you find the pressure of going into them sort of fights?
For that fight, I was really good. I was really calm and really chilled up until about an hour before. I was like, oh shit, I'm starting to nervous now. And then you start to get into the and then I start to focus, start to get into the right mindset, and then just went out there and just had it. I remember just before I walked out, my coach Stav Economou said to me, originally the game plan was to come out, circle, throw a few shots to fake, and then shut up the takedown and shoot, and then literally 10 minutes before the fight, Dan just goes, just shoot straight away, don't play around, just shoot straight away and try to take him down. So all I could think was, oh shit, this game plan has just changed. 10 minutes before the fight, oh fuck, what do I do? So again, I just went in there, I was focused, and then as soon as I saw the opportunity, I shot him, just double-legged him and got him down.
So the game plan was exactly as it set out to go?
Yeah, in the end, yeah, and it was definitely the right thing to do, because I think when my coach saw him in person, he was like, yeah, he's a lot bigger than we...
Bigger than he looked on the telly?
Yeah, a lot bigger, and even on TV, he's massive.
Yeah, it's funny really, because after your fight was on the I see it go up on social media and stuff, I was actually in Thailand at the time, and he must have had that fight, and gone to Thailand himself. And I met him out there. I've got a photo with him. And I think his hand is nearly as big as my head.
Yeah,
in the photo.
It's crazy. Like, I remember I took a picture of him like at my friend, and he just had his hand on my mate's head, and his hand just covered his head.
Yeah.
You know.
I think he's now gone into the movies, isn't he?
He's doing a lot of films over the years. He was even doing films back then. You know,
Yeah.
But I think now that's more what he's moving on to.
So who in your own opinion would you say has been your toughest opponent to date?
I mean, they're all tough. I mean, Linda Marcel's a tough guy. Thiago was tough. Ricco was a tough fight.
So Thiago was another UFC fight.
UFC fight, yeah, he was a tough guy. Yeah, they're all absolutely tough lunatics. But I mean, I suppose the toughest fight I've had was probably against Neil Grove. Cause I remember that fight. We just beat the shit out of each other. Like, we really did just hit each other so much in the head. But yeah, that's what I say. That was probably my toughest fight.
So what's been your worst injury from either training or fighting?
Worst injury was probably this cauliflower ear. It popped during the fight when I fought Ricco. Because basically 3 weeks before the fight, me and my coach are training, just finished doing the grappling. He gets off me and just jokingly, playfully, just slaps me on the head, just playfully. And I was like, oh shit, that stung. It shouldn't have stung the way it stung. And then it started to swell, and then because I was training for a fight, I had to keep training. I had to keep on training hard. And where my ear was just kept getting knocked and getting hit, and like with jiu-jitsu and the grappling kept getting like rubbed on, it got bigger and bigger. And then I was draining it every day before the fight to like bring it down. But after I would go to sleep on a pillow, next morning it would be swollen again. So like if it's swelling just from sleeping on a pillow, like when I got to a fight with it, it ballooned up big time. It was so big. I remember after the fight, I went to touch my head and my hand stopped here. I was like, oh shit, how big is my ear now? I was doing this, thinking, oh my god, I was terrified to look at the mirror because I was like, what am I going to see? And there was just blood pouring out of it. I remember, I remember during the fight, I'm in between the rounds, and I can hear the crowd going, oh, I'm like, what's happened? And then when I watched it back, I realised the camera had zoomed in on my ear. And I was like, oh, okay. That's what everyone was reacting to, because it wasn't nice. Like I said, there was just blood pouring out of it, it was swollen in, and it hurt so much. That's probably the worst pain I've ever had in a fight. Like, I remember being on the floor, him touching my ear, and all I'm thinking to myself is, why now? Why am I going through this pain now? Of all things, my fucking ear, during the biggest fight of my life. But it all worked out in the end. So
when you say you drain your ears, what do you mean by that?
I would get a syringe,
yeah,
stab it in my ear, and just get it out. And because I didn't really know how to get needles, and I didn't really have access to a bunch of needles, so whatever few I did have, I would just sterilise them, unfortunately. I mean, I was sterilising them every time, obviously, but I used them again because I was doing it every day. And I'd have to like 3 or 4 times a day, so I might have to use the needle once or twice, 3 times perhaps, to get sterilised. But by the end of it, I'm using pretty much a blunt needle to drain my ear.
So what is that actually in? Is it blood or pus, or what is the?
When it first happens, it's all blood. As you leave it becomes pussier, and it becomes more like yellowy, and then it just ends up just getting hard.
So is that something that's going to continue through your life, or is that just sort of when you're fighting that?
I mean, now they're completely solid now, so there's no issue with them. I mean, if touch wood, hopefully I don't. But if I get hit on the ear again, hopefully it won't swell up again. But depending on how much trauma it takes, it might just fill up with a bit more fluid. It might not. I don't know, but. It's a part of me now, so it is what it is. I mean, I've had this one since I had this one the week before my first fight, which was an amateur fight. So I've had this for like 15 years. This one like 9 years. So.
All right, can you tell us a little bit about your training schedule before a fight and just generally when you're ticking over?
I mean, generally when I'm just ticking over, I'll probably train, like I say, maybe 5 times a week, minimum really, with a lot of sparring, grappling, and running and whatnot. Then when I have a fight coming up, I'll up it to say probably 10, 12 times a week. Twice a day, and if I can, I'll squeeze in a third, depending on the fight or how the camp's going. And just, so it involves a lot of hard sparring, grappling, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, down at TSG, and just putting in the work.
So do you have a day where you have to recover for that?
Can't eat. The thing is, because I work as well, I mean, I cut down my hours closer to the fights, but because I work as well, my rest day would basically be a day when I'm at work all day. So
it's not really a rest.
It's not really a rest day.
Rest from training.
Rest from training, but not an actual rest day.
So it's quite a full-on life you've got, really.
It is pretty full on.
So being a heavyweight, I don't suppose you really have to worry about cutting weight and dieting, or
you would think that, but I'm a fat fuck, so I have to cut weight depending on the event. So I mean, plus depending on how fit I am before the camp starts. But generally, I have to cut a little bit of weight to get to under 265. So I usually weigh about 260.
So there's another category other than heavyweight?
Yeah, after heavyweight it comes super heavyweight. But all big events have have the limit at heavyweight. They don't really have super heavyweight divisions.
So what was the limit with Bob Sapp? Because surely he's
that was open. That was super heavyweight or open weight kind of thing. Kind of thing. I mean, I was over 100 I was 130 odd kilos myself, so I was over the heavyweight limit anyway. So it really was.
So what sort of when you have to cut weight for a fight, what sort of diet would you go for that?
I would just try to eat really clean, which is like, to be fair, the only time I eat clean is when I'm training for a fight. I don't eat any chocolates, any fried food, any snacks, or I try to eat as clean as I can. No fizzy drinks, no alcohol. Just as clean as I can for that camp, because I know when the camp's over, I'm gonna go all out again.
Enjoy it. What did your family find of your fighting? Do they like it, or do they not like you getting in there?
At the time when I first started, they didn't like it at all. I mean, my dad was like, "What are you doing this for? Why?" He wasn't overly happy about it. My mum was like, "Okay, fine. Look, have one fight, get that out of your system, and then that'll be it." And then I had one, and I had 2, 3, 4. I mean, luckily, I've won a lot more than I lost. If I had a worse off record, they might not be as okay with it as what they are now.
Yeah.
I mean, now they're very proud and very supportive. But at the time, I was like 19 years old. I'm telling my parents, I was still living at home. I'm going to do cage fighting. Like, what are you doing that for? Like, you stupid. If you want to fight, I'll fight you.
Well, as a parent, I suppose you want to protect the child.
Of course.
Putting them into a cage is not really the sort of thing you'd want to do.
Child, so. And I understand that totally. So, I mean, I got no issue with them feeling the way they felt at the time. I mean, as I said, I was lucky that I had a good gym that was very supportive of me as well and helped me a lot. And because I've won the majority of my fights, and they got to see that I'm actually, I'm not shit at this, so I don't have to be as worried. Whereas if I had a poor record or whatever, or if I had, or if I wasn't as, if I didn't have as good gym as I have, they might feel a bit differently.
Yeah. Do your parents and that more worry about when you're sort of stepping up the league, getting in there with bigger names, bigger sort of top league fighters? I
mean, for them, to be fair, for them, I don't think it matters, because they don't know, they don't follow the sport, they don't know. All they know is their son is going in for a fight, so they don't know who it's against. Good shit, doesn't matter. They're still going to be worried regardless. No.
Where do you think the future? Well, what does the future hold for you? Say in 5 to 10 years, do you think you're still going to be training and fighting, or going into coaching, or?
I mean, I'm doing coaching now and stuff, and helping out a lot of the gym, and I'm also helping promote events and organise with UWC and whatnot. To be honest, I mean, with COVID and everything, I have no idea what the future holds. Because for me, when I fight, I need a crowd. I need people there. because I feel like I love the crowd. I love entertaining the crowd. So to do it with no one no one there doesn't sound exciting to me at all. So
just stepping into that. So when you've got like a big crowd support, does that sort of cheer you up, get you a bit more into the mood?
Yeah, like it really just
makes your adrenaline work.
Yeah, it just gets me into the right frame of mind that I need to be in to fight.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, whenever I fought in front of big crowds, that's when I've always performed best. Because I'm like, shit, this is when, you know, it's on now. You know, everyone's watching me. I can hear everyone.
Don't want to let them down.
Don't let them down, or I don't want to bore them. You know, I should go out and have a good, exciting fight and perform well. You know, so I mean, I am definitely going to conquer. I'm definitely going to compete again. I'm going to fight again. Don't know when, don't know where. I think. I mean, I just have to wait and see what happens. But in the meantime, I'm still going to be coaching and helping out other fighters and training. So so I'm still going to be involved in the sport regardless.
So do you think you'll always be involved in it now, with it just from a coaching side?
I would like to think so. I would like to think that I'll always have like a figure or two in the sport. You know, do something.
Is there any words of advice you've got anyone that's sort of interested in this sport, or they want to go down that same sort of path as you?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get to MMA, you have to you have to be real with yourself. Don't just do it because you want to show off. Don't just do it because you want to flex or, you know, try and look good for people. You know what I mean, you got to do it for you, and you got to do it at 100%. Put your everything into it. Don't just, and you have to want to improve. And the thing with MMA is you got to realize is you're gonna get your ass kicked. It's gonna happen in the gym, out of the gym, in a fight or in the gym. You're gonna get beaten up, and if you're not getting beaten up, then you're not fighting the right guys. A lot of people they just want to fight shit guys, pad the record and look good. People gotta learn, like, if you're gonna do this, it's gonna suck at points. You're gonna get hurt. Your ego's gonna get bruised. You have to learn from that and deal with it and get on with it. Like, too many people, they might try and choose an easy fight or an easy partner to grapple with, and it's ridiculous because they're not benefiting from it. They're just building
cheating themselves, really.
Yeah, exactly, just cheating themselves. So when people do this, they have to be really honest with themselves and think, why am I doing this? Am I doing it because I want to show off? Am I doing it because I want to test myself? Or am I doing it because, what is it? But like, whatever you do, if you're going to do it, put your all into it, and don't be afraid to be humbled, because ultimately, you know, it's all part of it, and it's all part of your building your knowledge with the sport, you know.
Yeah. Do you find, obviously, a lot of people obviously they watch a cage fight and they'll think, I want to do that, but they don't realise how much training has to go into that to get to that stage. It's not just getting in there and having a brawl, is it? It's a lot of technical training has to go into that.
It's crazy how it's crazy how people who don't train at all talk about the sport. It's really bizarre, because, like, I mean, a 15-minute fight doesn't sound long, but when you do it, you know, like, it's a long time. It'll go by quick, but when you're in there, it'll still feel long, you know. And to have that cardio and that strength to keep fighting for 15 minutes is really tough, and to be able to, like I said, just to be able to do it for 15 minutes is really hard. It's a really hard thing to go through, and you have to train so hard to be able to do that, and to be able to still be able to be technical and strong in the third round as you were in the first round. It's really hard going, and a lot of people don't realise how much it takes to be able to do that. They think, oh yeah, I'll just hit him. Even like guys will be exhausted in the third round, have had a war, and the average fan would just be like, oh, just hit him. Why are you laying there for? Like, what are you doing? Like, Ralph, they're fucking tired, mate. Like, it's been a hard fight. You try and hold someone for 15 minutes. Like, people don't understand how tiring the wrestling and the grappling is, and how tiring having all that pressure on you can be, you know. And if you're in a fight and you're getting hit, that tires you out too. So people just don't realise how much it can take to
Just going into what you just said there about when you're wrestling and sort of hugging. Like some people don't understand. There's actually a lot of technical stuff in there, isn't there? Where they're just saying hit him, but you know, some people's game is like jiu-jitsu, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, with the grappling side, it's just wait. You got to you're carrying your weight, carrying your opponent's weight, and you're both not only you both there to push each other, but you're both pushing as hard as you can. So you're both going as hard as you can, trying to maneuver each other, be technical with it, like be technical to get advantage of your position, and it's exhausting. And when you're doing that, whilst getting hit in the head, or whilst someone's trying to elbow you in the head, it can really take it out of you. And if you've done that if you've been doing that for the whole fight, it can be exhausting.
So just with the fighting, it's sort of taking you out of the country to travel as well to fight, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what places have you been to fight now?
Yeah, I've been to Poland, I've been to Abu Dhabi, Dubai, I've been to Chechnya, which is like just by Russia, and
How do you find that fighting in a crowd full of like not your supporters as such?
As long as they're loud, I don't care. Boo me, cheer me, I don't care. As long as they're doing something. If they're just sitting on the hands, just bored on the phone, that's what I want. Yeah. As long as they're engaged, you know, that's what I care about. I mean, when I fought in Chechnya, I mean, no one there liked me at all. They all hated me. I remember I was walking down the ramp, it's stupidly steep stairs down this arena, and I'm walking down, and kids are like, these little kids like all cheering and stuff, and they put their hand up to like slap hands. I'm like, oh okay, I'm going to do it, and they'll just push their hand away, and start laughing in my face, like you little. And a few of them do this. I'm like, well, these kids, shit, everyone actually hates me. No, these guys all actually don't like me, so do they? Like, oh, all right, let's go. Okay, fine.
But how does that make you feel? Does that make you want to win a bit more to like prove a point, or does it sort of discourage you? Make you want to bow your head a little bit?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, at the time, at first I was like, oh, that's a bit cheeky. All right, fine. Then once I got past all the kids and everything, I was like, okay, screw it, you know. And then I was focused again and ready to go, and then I was just up for it again, you know.
Yeah.
So, but like, it wasn't like to me. At the time, I tried funny. Well, I don't really want. But at the time, when I'm about to have a fight, I don't really want to be laughing.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's not a real issue. But it's not a big issue or anything.
Yeah. So what other sort of names have you sort of trained with over the years? Any sort of big names people know about?
I've trained under with Chris Gracie quite a few times. He's come and done seminars here. I've been able to roll with him, which was quite an honour really. When I was over him before Brock Lesnar and when he fought Frank Mir, I was briefly part of his camp for those two fights.
Where was that based in?
In Amsterdam, in Holland.
She was actually there training with him.
With him, yeah,
wow.
his gym, yeah. That was good. Like, there was some good names there as well.
He's another big guy, isn't he?
He was insanely big, like insane. When he fought Brock, he was so big and so fierce and so just. He really wasn't. In my mind, at that point, he was the baddest man on the planet because he was so big and so skillful with it. He just come off. I think he just came off winning the K1 Grand Prix or winning the Dream title, and he was just a monster, you know. And not just a monster, but he was technical with it as well. So he was technical. He was powerful. He could grapple. He could strike. He was ridiculous. He was Ubering. He really was Uber.
What other names you've been with training?
I've trained with not that many big names, but I've trained with Ian Freeman before, Linton Vassell, Paul Daly, so some of the bigger British names.
Yeah. Just a quick one on Paul Daly. So it's not sort of up to date, but so his UFC fight, he got disqualified, didn't he, from fighting?
I think what happened was he lost on points. So Josh Koscheck, this was years ago as well. And I think, from what I heard, Josh Koscheck said something about Paul's family or perhaps his mum, don't quite remember. So after the fight, Paul carried on punching him. Like, as you do, someone slags off your family, like,
Yeah.
You know, sport or not, you're still going to get it. You know, and then obviously the UFC didn't like that, and they released him from his contract, but he's still.
It's crazy, really, though, because so he's been disqualified for that. But if you look at the Conor McGregor fight, what they've done in their ring and after the scenes, and they're still back in their fighting, aren't they? So
I mean, the difference there is number one, there's about 8 years between, or so roughly. between those two incidences, and a lot changed in that time. So excuse me, sorry. The UFC grew from being a big, well-known, a mainstream in America event, and then by the time the Conor Khabib incident happened, it was a worldwide, global spectacle. Now everyone knows what the UFC is, everyone knows who Conor is, and Conor was such a big star. Obviously, they make allowances for him.
Yeah, just seems funny, doesn't it? That one more for one and not for another.
It does, but again, like I say, it's like 8 years in between it. I mean, if Paul had, if that happened, like say now, and Paul's in the UFC, I don't think he'd get fired. I think he would just get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Stav, you've obviously won some titles in your time as well. Can you tell us about them?
Yeah, I've won a couple of British. Won a British title with the UWC and a world title.
Who were they against?
I beat Lito Vassell for one of them at UWC. That was a really hard fight because he's so bloody strong. Beast he is, and we had a really tough fight. I beat him for a title, and then I beat a guy called Tommy Rasmussen. He's a really nice guy actually. I think for my 6th fight, and that's basically it. But I mean, I'm not in this for titles. I'm in this to...
Yeah, it's always good to achieve though, isn't it? I mean, once you've got that...
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice, but like I said, it's like always says, a bell is only there to just hold up your pants.
Is there any other funny stories you've got through training or stuff you could tell us?
Give me a minute. I'm not sure if I can say half of them on camera. No, to be honest, I haven't really got anything. To be honest, I haven't really got anything. Too many funny stories. But this, I've just been. It's because I love MMA, but it's a hard going sport, and
Sort of takes over your life, doesn't it? If you've got to train that hard all the time, so it's a lot of pressure, and probably on your family as well if you're out of the house training all the time.
I mean, MMA is a really selfish sport. It's really selfish because you have to be so engulfed by the sport, and you have to be thinking about it 24/7. You have to be involved in it, and even if you're not training, you still have to be thinking about it. You still have to be, it has to be on your mind. I mean, even when I was a fighter, I would be online looking at records, I was studying everyone in who I could possibly fight. I've been looking through this. I've been all over YouTube just looking at fights and just learning and trying to see what's out there. And you got to remember, it's like I said, it's a selfish sport because you're basically making your family support you getting beaten up.
Yeah.
Basically that's what it is, and you have to understand that. They want to support you, but they don't want to see you get beaten up. So make sure you put 100% into it because you're going to be putting your friends and family through a lot. Yeah. So don't let them down. Don't let yourself down. Don't let your club down because the club is going to spend a lot of time helping you as well if you have a good one. So you just have to, just like I said, be honest with yourself and just put everything into it because you're going to make a lot of people go through stuff. Even if you're going through hard times, then watching you go through those hard times is still going to affect them. And that's why you got to make sure you just do it as to the best of your abilities.
Okay, good to wind things up now, Stav. But before we go, is there anything else you'd like to say about your sponsors or anything like that? If you're on Twitch or anything, if you're on Twitch or on social media, you can follow me at Stav Crazy Bear or Stav _ Crazy Bear on Twitch or Twitter, Instagram. So give me a follow on those platforms, and lovely. Well, thanks for your time.
Cheers, mate. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming.
Just to be here, mate. Thank you.